Friday. And we just come from the funeral home here in Vidor. Many members of the family are here from both her family and Bernie's family and other relatives. This is in her living room with various pictures of the children, and you can hear some of them practicing tomorrow for the funeral is at 10 o'clock tomorrow, Monday morning.
Here. Just moving things out. That was the last thing. What's that tape? That's the last thing.
And that's when the children were a lot younger.
On the other side of that one.
For those of you who are viewing this tape, Sarah acquired ALS, alateral sclerosis. It was diagnosed last October, just prior to October conference, and she was unable to walk by Christmas. And then just after visiting, being able to attend the family reunion in Provo and April conference, and then going back for the graduation of her children from law school, she attended the temple for the last time last Saturday, and then after a visit to the hospital and the doctor, she went downhill very fast because of the loss of the muscles in the diaphragm, and her breathing became more and more difficult. Here are some of the cousins and relatives practicing for tomorrow. And you'll recognize some of the family members. These are the teenagers.
Okay, listen, y'all. One more time.
Some of the grandkids, isn't it?
Okay, alto. Let's put you alto.
There's a lot of people here at the home on a special family home evening that we're going to start right away. There's Bernie. They're handling it real well. There's Shane, the one boy that they raised from young teenagers, sent him on a mission.
Okay, one more time, camera. Okay, ready?
There's various members of the family.
Okay, all the guys.
Some of the Bernie Packard family and the Bob Packard family. There's Ron. Ron has just arrived, and Gene.
We'll practice a little after family home evening. It's been a good practice. Okay, all the guys, this is our last time you sing before family home evening. Then we'll have to have another practice, but that was a good one. Okay, the little girls are not here, but we'll just go. Let's sing that one. Ron, practice. Let's sing that one.
The adults are all here just listening. There's Bill here. Dee is here. Ron and Sheila. Temple president in Los Angeles, Temple matron. There's one of Floyd's daughters from Sherman Texas, and there's Barbara. She's able to come all the way down here. She's going to be speaking tomorrow. There's Floyd and Alice, the temple president and matron of the San Diego temple. There's Donna, and she's tired. Hi, Donna. And Kenneth. They drove all the way here from Salt Lake, Provo.
Right. Kenneth was driving out 12 hours, and I've been driving nothing else.
You didn't hear that. Donna's drive 1 hour. Kenneth would drive 12 hours. Then they'd rest.
They don't have the wrong notes.
Sabrina, I guess, is going to sing that lead part. There's the new bishop. Guess who he's talking to? Jay Packer.
We came here for the community.
Marshall's the stake president in Beaumont. He's going to be the concluding speaker tomorrow, right there.
There's so much. A lot of beauty.
Who do we have up here? As Janice. And Donnie Hilton. Just finishing up his degree, and special degree in neurosurgery. 6 years. Going to settle in San Antonio, I think. That's Chad's wife, Stephanie.
Okay. First person.
Okay. We welcome you to this family home. After that phone call, please, one of you girls remove the phones, both of them, for the full time. And on that one, let's just take name and number. Listen, Bud. For Beth and for Cleo. Then we'll make them feel bad. We'll sing a song to them. We'll have an opening prayer in a minute, but I just want to tell you that Sarah does, certainly would, and probably does feel the ultimate compliment in your presence. It's an absolute honor for y'all to be here. That's a real good Texas word. Everybody, y'all to be here. I don't know how to just tell you that we are honored with your presence. And what a tribe. Like I was telling my 3 friends here that have recently got their missionary haircuts. Chad, see, Chad's the one right there by Elizabeth, just recently got his missionary haircut. He's going to be baptized first. Sarah almost had him baptized, and he at once didn't come to visit with me or anybody else where's Mrs. Packard, and he came back 2 or 3 days in a row. They became very close friends. Damien, where's Damien's hand? Where's Damien?
Back on the couch.
Back by the couch.
Yeah.
Damien is a real good man, getting ready for his mission because of Sarah. And the one that we like the best is Billy Foster. Where's Billy Foster? He got his mission haircut not very long ago. But kind of like Marshall Hayes said, tonight I suspect Sarah is here, enjoying this great thing in her honor. Is a funeral in honor of somebody? I don't know, but we'll make like it is tonight because she's the key figure. Yeah, she said she never did like missing the party, and I suppose she will tonight. We won't drag this out very long. We do have some ice cream and banana splits following this program. The music in this program will be the music that will be heard tomorrow morning in the funeral. And so we won't be calling on each family. Let's begin with a word of prayer. Then we'll go over the some business tonight to outline ourselves for tomorrow. Some sleeping arrangements are in the process of being reviewed and double checked. And I thought about war stories from each of you. Think it'd take too long. It'd be like going through the war. I will take just a few minutes. I will not take a long time in sharing some of the precious moments that our family had in our last family home evening with Sarah. So if we may, Kenneth Brown will give us our opening prayer. Many have traveled. It's quite a sacrifice, we know. We live so far away, and we're just thrilled to death that you're here. And all those from California and Utah and other faraway places. So thank you so much. Bob's boy Meredith made an analogy a while ago that maybe this is something like the celestial kingdom. Many of us were visiting, almost all of us were here visiting and carrying on, and then suddenly some loved ones entered our midst. Dee and Ron and Jean and Bill and Barbara. We sprang up, we ran to them, and Donnie and Janet, and ran to them and embraced them and loved them and talked with them, and maybe it's something like that with Sarah. She wouldn't believe any of that I told her because she clung to life so tightly. I tried to comfort her, and she wouldn't pay attention to those sort of things that I could tell her. And I'll tell you a little bit of some of the things she did tell me, in fact, a little later on. Okay, before we get into the music, briefly, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the program for tomorrow. The Chapel Cultural Hall Relief Society opens at 9 o'clock. Anybody can be there for viewing from 9 until 10. Anybody from this group, from 9 till about 2 minutes till 10. I've asked the bishop to proceed at 10 o'clock. The public is invited from 9 until approximately 9:40, at which time, this will all be in the Relief Society room, casket open for viewing, at which time the veil will be placed over Sarah. No, I said that wrong. At which time the public will be asked to excuse themselves. It'll be the extended family for quiet time, to review the program at that time, and prayer, and then for the bishop and others to lead us into the chapel. Sarah will be properly tended to. The casket will be closed just before it's brought into the chapel, and from there it will be a closed casket funeral. At the end of the funeral, the attendants will not walk around by the casket, but rather they'll just leave the chapel, either before we do or after we do, whatever the bishop and the funeral director see fit. And then we'll proceed on to the cemetery, and which is only about a quarter of a mile from the chapel. Following the cemetery and the interment, we will meet back at the Cultural Hall for a dinner. for everybody who is here. And where is Sister Fawcett? Now, as it comes to the meal itself, I haven't updated myself with you on that. For tomorrow after the funeral.
I think everything's covered. We may need some help with we're using the cultural hall for chairs.
Yes, we'll have help. You young men, I was going to tell you, you young men of all ages, be ready to immediately help move the chairs that are there for the people who come to the funeral, and to put tables in their place. And they'll be right under the stage. But you think that
If that's not already done. And I think the food and everything has been
taken care of? And then after we eat, we want to help completely clean up, make the place shine. And following the meal, our home is open for 3 more days, beds, and rooms, and groceries, and you're welcome to stay as long as you want. Okay, the funeral itself will begin with, it'll be presided by a member of the stake presidency. It'll be conducted most likely by the bishop. That's the plan so far, unless the stake presidency sees fit otherwise. There'll be prelude music, followed by an opening prayer. And I haven't assigned the prayer yet, but I wish to at this time because it's already printed on the program. And my oldest brother, D. Packard, for the opening prayer in the funeral. Wait a minute. No, I said that wrong. There will be a prayer offered in the Relief Society room with a family circle. And our oldest brother, D. Packard, if you would conduct that prayer, the prayer in the business meeting part of it and the family quiet time part of it. And then in the funeral itself, the opening prayer, we move on to the opening prayer, will be by our mission president, the president of the Texas Houston East Mission, Fred Stringham. He'll give who's a friend of mine, and he'll give the opening prayer. The first, and following the prayer, we'll have a musical number. And I forgot the name of that one. Fourthly, I am a child of God, following the opening prayer. Then our first speaker will be a member of the state presidency, Brother Johnny Ross, who lives across the street from us, and is a very dear friend of Sarah's and myself. Following him, we will have another speaker, and it will be put the female touch to the program. It'll be Barbara Packard Kunzler. She's already been assigned, of course. Then we'll have another musical number, As I Have Loved You. And following that, we'll have the keynote speaker, which is Sarah's brother, Marshall Hayes, to whom we could give a few titles. And I'm not sure which one will be on the program, but to me, he's still Marsh.
There he is at the moment.
Brother. I have been made a brother. I have been made a son to Wade Hayes in the far corner. He told me this morning I was a son-in-law for 31 years. Now I'm his son. And I take that as, and I'm so glad to hear it because he and I have been almost buddies for 31 years. Best of friends. And his beloved wife in the white hair, she has not dyed that hair, that's natural. She has been my sweetheart, my special friend. In the house, everybody? Marshall? And for 31 years, she has never meddled. She's never meddled. She's been a sweetheart for all this time. And following Marshall's message, a new assignment has been given. It had been considered that he would be the concluding. He is the keynote speaker, but a new assignment has been given, and that has been that I have been assigned to be the concluding speaker. And I will share some precious things that Sarah has said and shared, and I will also share some concerns and thanks, not concerns, but thanks and appreciation to the congregation for some of the great things that the community people have done for her for 8 months now. And not the least of which is the generous service of Sister Virginia Fawcett, who's been our Relief Society president from the beginning of this problem until yesterday. I guess we burned her out. When Sarah was diagnosed, she came to our aid crying, and she said, we, meaning the Relief Society, are in this for the long haul. And we abbreviated a little bit, but she was here because, instead of 2 or 2.5 years, but she was with us regularly, helping with the housework, and yard work and everything, and now it's climaxed with this, and we love you. And she is the bishop's wife. She was released because it's just usually not proper to have the two big bosses in the ward both in the same family. That'll be the end, and then we'll have a closing prayer, and the closing prayer is on the program, and if you will please, by our second oldest brother, Jay Packard. Aren't you the second oldest brother? Yes. In conference, conference. Okay. That's the business. Is there anything that needs to be brought to our attention with respect to after the dinner following the interment? Okay? I'm asking David Packard to help Sister Fawcett go around, reach the heads of households to make sure of sleeping arrangements. You literally go to the head of households, David, because she had already mentioned you, go to head of household and tell them we have a bedroom here. Keep telling them that and as long as they say, great, thanks, tell it to them until you can no longer tell it. And then we'll talk about a bedroom in the next neighbors' houses. Or else carpet. Okay, going to have some music at this time. Turn the time to Rachel Myers and Jill Hayes.
Sound better than this tomorrow, but anyway, we're going to do this. We need all the little primary children up here, and we hope to have a lot of mics tomorrow where it can be heard.
I'll take
Quite a few of the family here. What a family.
Before it grows too late.
heard from Bernie, that's all his kids. He's proud of them.
And Sarah.
He's proud of them. Well, Bernie joined them.
Can I see you?
Bernie had to have glasses like I do.
we're pleased with the children. I guess we should be careful about using the word proud, but we're pleased with the children. Everyone is naturally inclined toward obedience. I'd like to introduce to you Sarah's part of the tribe, because a lot of my family don't know them. Wade Hayes, the grandfather, patriarch of our state for so long now, and his beloved wife Vivian Church Hayes. She's a convert shortly before after their marriage. They had 4 children. Marshall Hayes is the oldest. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He's president of the Beaumont Stake. He's bishop for a long time before that. And he and Sarah were bosom friends all their years, and he's about the finest gentleman I've ever known. Actually, Sarah was born first. Well, I guess there was another one born first, and it passed away right away. And then Sarah, and then Marshall, then Sarah's sister, to whom she was so close. Where did Rachel disappear to? Rachel, who was conducting the music in the green over there, and she was Sarah's bosom friend for all the years. Actually, just an angel of a girl. Then they had a young boy named Spencer, who was struck by an automobile and killed at the age of 9. So some of us can identify with that. He would be about, 40, 45 years old now? Something like that. So it's 4 children that lived for a long time, and now they have 2 remaining. We've been very close all of our lives. I thought of going through an introduction of our family for the benefit of them, but I'm afraid I'd forget some. I'm going to pass on that. I may just share with you something about our final home evening. Sarah and I had been planning on going to the temple at least one more time, and it took a little bit of pushing from both of us, and Sarah was so busy in so many different activities that I had to do a fair amount of encouraging because of different commitments. And we finally insisted that we shall go this certain Saturday, leaving Friday afternoon, staying at Bob's house that evening, and go to the temple Saturday. As it turned out, that was a week ago yesterday. We did go, had a delightful time with Bob and Tallis and the family. Also saw the funeral of President Benson. Sarah was assisted during the temple session, and Bob and Tallis were so gracious and helped us in their home with our... I don't think we had any other children with us. David and Mark. Let's see, no, it was David and his wife.
And baby.
And Marshall.
And Marshall, too. And,
I can see why you passed on the introductions.
well, this bad experience has done something to my mind. She had an interesting experience, which I don't mind sharing with you. It's quite sacred, but it's already gone public. So, the evening before the session, she awakened in the morning and shared with me a dream that she had, which was the first of its kind for her to ever have. In her dream, she dreamed of, it concerned her too, of 2 individuals that she saw that appeared to her. One of them she knew was Rochelle. That's our deceased daughter of 13 years ago. That's our oldest daughter, just above Rebecca. And she knew it was Rochelle, the girl, and I don't know the accuracy of this part, how old a person is in heaven, but this girl appeared to be a young adult lady, 18, 20 years old. She told me how her hair was combed, which was slightly different than it was when she was a young girl. She knew it was Rochelle. There was a man with her, not an old man, although he had white hair. She didn't know who he was. Said that he caused her to think of her own father, Wade Hayes. I asked if it was Wade Hayes, and her answer was it was not Wade Hayes. She didn't think it was her brother Spencer, didn't know who it was, but I've confirmed this with a couple of the children to whom Sarah told of her dream, and the interpretation is that Rochelle informed her that she had come to get her. And Sarah was concerned because of the inconvenience of it all. She was in Dallas, she was in Bob's home. This is the wrong place, the wrong time. And so then she woke up, and that was her concern, and she shared that dream with me, went through the temple that very day.
It's interesting, Bernie, that that same morning, almost exact same time, I woke up at about 4:30 and had the same problem, and I felt very concerned. I told Sarah, the breakfast table there, that I had a dream that she died in our house, and I thought, this is terrible, not to have been down in Dallas where all her children, down in Vidor where all the children were, and she found that very interesting. When she was in the temple, the second counselor and the temple president, his wife was the one that helped her through, Sister Bassett. And she relayed that in the celestial room to her, and that's why Sister Bassett was crying there, is because she kept saying, I just don't want to die in Dallas. He kept telling her, and when I called Sister Bassett on the phone and told her that she was about ready to pass away, and then I called her back and said that she relayed that information to me, that she just kept telling me, says, I just don't want to die in Dallas. So she wanted to get back home.
It had come to a terrible point of where both she and I would wake up in the morning and take notice as whether or not she was still with us. It had regressed to that point. Well, Sarah about 2 months ago, no, about 1 month ago, had read some literature that gave her a great deal of hope. And the literature pointed out that there were 3 symptoms that were atypical of this untreatable ALS. ALS is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Street name is Lou Gehrig's disease, after the great baseball player named Lou Gehrig. He's not the first to have received this disease. This disease dates clear back to the 1850s. They've known of it, just hadn't been able to cure it. Lou Gehrig was a great hero, very energetic. This disease took all of his energy, and he wasted away and died. And they've named it after him. At least people have. The 3 symptoms that excited her were, that caused her to think maybe there's hope to take some treatment that will slow this process down. Not cure it, but slow it, which she was willing to do. Symptom number 1 was dry mouth. Number 2 was dry eyes. And number 3 was the rapid progress of the disease. Because we had been told 2 years, 2.5 years, no, 2.5 years was her probability. The disease itself will go from 2 to 10 years with most people. It had only been 8 months, and it had been 7 months, 9 months at that time. She was in serious trouble. So she arranged for another hospital visit in Houston at the diagnostic center with a different doctor who was also a highly specialized person in neurosensory problems. Not the original doctor that treated her, who said ultimately, there's no need for you to return. So we did go back, and we went back Monday and Tuesday. It was to be Monday and Tuesday. Turned out to be also Wednesday of last week. She went through a battery of tests and was totally deflated at the results. The doctor asked us, why are you here? What can I do for you? How can we help you? We told him what was on her mind. Sarah said she had hopes that hers was treatable, or at least to the extent that she could retard it. He said, you have ALS, it's not treatable. You have the untreatable ALS. What can we do to make you comfortable now? We want to help you. And he began to talk to her about a tracheotomy. Do you know what a tracheotomy is, you people? It's a hole through the neck that you can put tubes through and down into your lungs to pump oxygen and air into your lungs so that you can breathe by a machine if your muscles won't help you breathe. So he spent some time explaining all the pros and cons to that. Well, she went through a very serious battery of tests. The primary and most painful part of them were what they call pulmonary tests, that is, to see how much capacity or strength the lungs have. To do this, she blew into a machine, a tube like a vacuum tube, a vacuum hose, and she did this continuously for about 20, 25 minutes. blowing with all of her energy, and then she would be asked to breathe normal for a few seconds, and then draw. Breathe out and then draw in with all of her energy. This went over and over with all the energy she had. Poor girl was perspiring, and it took about 25 minutes. She was totally exhausted. They placed her on a bed, and it was rather painful, and I could see that it was. They had also given her a pill. She had also been told that there's no hope. And from that time on, she rapidly went on downhill. Somebody could say she had gone through the temple for her last time. She had received a message, possibly from heaven. She did not say that was a vision. She said it was a dream. Somebody could say that the Lord felt no need to preserve her any longer. And somebody else could argue that she was totally exhausted from her hospital experience, including the fact that she lost hope with the doctor's last report. I brought her home in the van, same as I took her to Dallas and back. We had oxygen in the van, air conditioner right on her, a bed. She was in a reclining position, very comfortable, slept basically all the time, all the way home. Put her in the wheelchair, brought her into the house here. It was her last experience in the wheelchair. We put her on the couch, and she visited with us, talked, ate very little. She drank her ice water, and then she was transferred to another bed, not by the wheelchair, but several of us would just muscle her and take her in with a what we call a sling. It's kind of like a large diaper under her, where we don't have to grab her arms and legs to transfer her. That was Wednesday evening. She slept through the night with me, and it was a lovely evening because we were able to visit a bit, not much. And then in the morning we were pleased, both of us, that she was awake. But her condition was getting so serious, it just nosediving, just regressing so fast, she was even going out. In other words, semi-comatose at times. And so we began to call all of our children in, including those from out of state, because her breathing, I forgot to tell you, the problem was her lungs. This disease, and you folks can tell you what I've already explained to them, the disease just atrophied her muscles. That means waste away. Her muscles, all of them, all the way up, starting at the feet, all the way up, gradually, and that we could see the difference week by week. And in fact, we could see the difference just about half a week by half a week. And it went all the way up, clear up to the shoulders, and her shoulders atrophied. They were bony. She could not raise her arms out this far. She just could not do it. She could still use her elbows because she had her triceps and biceps. She could use her hands, although they were weakening. But I would brush her hair because she could not get her arms up there. And by the time it reached her shoulders, we began to notice serious impact in her lungs, which was because of the deterioration of her diaphragm muscle. The diaphragm is a muscle, like another muscle, and it operates the lungs. The lungs are not a muscle. And the diaphragm simply presses up. That causes you to exhale. It'll pull down. That'll cause you to inhale. And that muscle was getting so weak that she was gasping for air. And she was struggling for air, finally, on this evening, every breath. It was so painful that we saw that she was slipping. So that afternoon, we began to prepare for our final home evening. And we were going to wait until the last people were in. And Rebecca was out of state, and her husband, incidentally, will be here pretty soon this evening. But Rebecca was coming from out of state and was due to pull in 2 a.m. We chose to hold off on a family home evening until then. By now, Sarah was unconscious most all the time. It was very difficult to arouse her in any degree. At 2 a.m., sure enough, Rebecca came in. and almost exactly 2 o'clock, and we took her in there, and she hugged Mama, and all of us were there now, and grandchildren. And Rebecca hugged her, and Mother woke up and said, I love you. But she spoke so faintly, you'd have to place your ear right to her lips to barely hear her say it in her debilitated condition. I mean, it was not like she could whisper distinctly. But she conveyed to Rebecca, clear enough to understand, I love you, I love you. And then what was the last word she ever said? Elizabeth, Rebecca, somebody?
She said, I'm so glad, so glad. And she said, I love you 2 times.
And that she knew she was home. She said, "Well, you know where you are." She said, "Home."
And did she say, I love all of you, or I love you
Yeah.
all?
I love you all.
Said it about 10 times. The last 10 minutes.
And that was her last. And that was about 2:30 a.m. And we immediately went into a family home evening. And we had an opening prayer, and then we sang hymns to ourselves and to Mother, to each other and to Mother. And which songs did we sing to Mother? Yes, I forgot to tell you, the violin specialist from Russia that had trained some of our children, they had already been put on notice. They had been invited to attend and to participate in the funeral. They're not able to come, but they called back by prearrangement on our intercom and their intercom, and they both played. She accompanied by piano, he played the violin, and we could all hear on our intercom telephone by Mother. And Mother woke up. You could tell she woke up because she lighted up. Her eyes opened a little bit. What, please?
At the very end, she had her hands and she put them together.
Try to clap. And what was the name of the song? It's called Meditation.
Same song.
Same song as they played for us at Rochelle's funeral 13 years ago. And that was touching because Mother did hear that. And then we sang, and what songs did we sing to Mother?
And because I have been given much, and as I've loved you.
Because I have been given much, I too must give. And as I have loved you. And then we sang another one.
Well, that was afterwards.
Okay. We sang that, and then we covered some business for the funeral. Preliminary decisions had to be met. And then I shared a message with them about their beloved Mother and about the noble woman that she is and how they can reverence her and how absolutely royal she is and how royal each of those children are and how they can be and how they would forever be proud of her. And it was a touching occasion. We brought that to a close to something like 4 o'clock, and I excused all of them, and then I changed her and her diaper and cleaned her up, and then transferred her from the hospital bed, which is in our bedroom, to my bed, and I slept with her for the balance of that night, and fixed myself in a position where I was holding her warm hand and where I could see her face, because I could look over her face and at the light of the bathroom, and that way I could see the silhouette of her face, and I could then tell if she was breathing. Otherwise, I couldn't tell. My eyes, I must have opened them every 15 minutes, and I could see that she was still with us. And then I stayed in bed with her throughout the entire next day, with all the children in there. I was dressed, and we kicked the covers off, and we all just lay there and knelt by there and sit around and was with her for the day until about 1 o'clock. By then, her condition had regressed to the point where we could see that she was about to expire because she was grasping so much for air. And she was in my arms, and she struggled and took what we thought would be her last breath. It was quite a scene, and created quite a scene. After things settled down, sure enough, she started breathing again. She was without a breath for probably a minute to a minute and a half. We think she actually passed away. Yeah. Her heart stopped and her pulse stopped. And one of the children said, Dad, because I patted her on the face and led her to keep coming, Mama. Come on, Mama. Meaning to breathe. It was clear. And one member of the family says, Dad, you ought to release her. You ought to let her go. And I said, I know it, but I can't do it. Well, and I'm not sure how much time later. Somebody said an hour later, somebody said 2 hours later. But it was 1 or 2 hours later, she was going through the same desperation, and then she went into the same experience and was desperately grasping for air and led up to her last breath again. And this time we remained silent and waited for a long time. It must have been 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, wondering if she would revive. And she didn't. And I heard her breathe out because I put my ear closer to her, hugging her, and she breathed out a long last breath. And it was over. And we all held her and hugged her, and it was an experience that all of it put together, the whole evening, the communications with her, the singing, the seeing her, they shall never forget it in all their life. And it was precious. And then we made some phone calls and she was transferred. Well, okay. That's the story of a beloved woman. Now, I propose that we hear the remaining 2 songs, and, okay?
Thank you, Bernie, for sharing that with us.
That's Talmadge. Talmadge and Sawyer were very close.
While she's getting ready, tomorrow in my message I'll tell you some of the things that Mother said that are absolutely classic. That's why I choose to not say it tonight, because I'll tell it to you tomorrow. Some of it demonstrate her wisdom and her good judgment and her purity and her appreciation and her love. So I won't do that tonight.
See our light is come.
They're all crying. They're having a hard time.
Violin, we're supposed to have violin too.
Okay. Let me put my family on notice. I have been asked to provide some music from my family tonight. And then I realized it's late, and they said, no, not if they can. I said, isn't it pretty late? It's not if I can hear something from some of your children. And there's so many talented children here tonight, every family it seems like. But it seems to be Sarah's party again. And so, we don't want jumping around or dancing like, you know, some of you can dance. But, Priscilla, we'd like you to sing. What, please? We want you to sing either, what's the name? Either His Hands or else the Spanish song, Via de la Rosa. And I want you to sing Via de la Rosa and His Name. Rebecca, we want you to sing No Other Name that you sang on the Daniel Cope tape. Kenneth Cope tape.
Kenneth Cope tape, yeah.
Elizabeth, we want you to sing one. And we want you boys, all you boys, to sing one of yours, not one of those that wakes everybody up, but one of those spiritual ones that David Packard wrote. So, while they're putting it together, and we don't want to drag it, I only wanted about 10 more minutes, so don't drag it. While they're doing it, we've had a change in the program for the funeral tomorrow to this extent. If Stephen, if you would please give the prayer in the family circle. And in lieu of some of my brothers, if you would, and Stan, if you would, in the opening prayer in the funeral itself, and David, if you would, the closing funeral, the closing prayer. And Dan and Marshall will catch you later. Not enough prayers to get you to it.
But there's a gravesite. It's just born too late, man.
Now, I've already assigned the grave. I forgot to tell you. I could undo that too, I guess.
You sure could, Bernie. Is it in print, or does it matter?
No, it's not in print. I had assigned that to Bob, but I could do that today.
Well, all your sons are returned missionaries, and I took a copy of the General Handbook of Instructions on that, and I can help them.
Daniel, you're assigned to dedicate the grave. Marshall will catch you on the next round. Okay? We went right down the list from top to bottom, okay?
Dan, I'll help you.
I just went right from the top down as they came in order, okay? Now, which of the children are ready to perform now, please? Teresa, so Priscilla? Almost ready. Rebecca, are you ready? Teresa Brennan, do you two have a duet? Not quite ready? Okay. The six boys? The six boys, are you ready? And when these six boys perform, I want you to understand that for a whole year or two, I had those six teenage boys. in this house at the same time. It's nice to drive a strong man crazy. It's been at $750.
Yeah, represents your family?
Yeah, that's our family. It's called the Eternal Family. But if you look at it, it has an eternal nature about it in that everybody is touching. Yeah. They were even, the children were able to pick themselves out. And these are the 6 boys that once were teenage boys that tested us to the limit.
This is a baptism song David wrote it on his mission. We have rehearsed it together. David wrote the words, and Anthony played the words. He stole the words from 2 Peter.
David wrote this song. Could you move the that box? Sorry, tape. We've got to write down the words. I'll wait on this tape. Which one wrote the words?
The one that's playing your
The words come from a bit more.
Jesus began his ministry to bring wisdom all around and to demonstrate all righteousness, to witness obedience, was baptized as commanded from above. Sanctified he was as our Lord and King. He was powerful and bold and sinless too. Yet Jesus was submissive to his Father. They do the things which he has seen me do. Not that he was holy, but notwithstanding being holy, Jesus our Savior, the Lamb of God, was baptized to show the way for me. Our Savior was baptized by immersion to symbolize of purity. And as the dove descended upon our Savior's shoulder, a voice said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Know ye not that he was holy, but notwithstanding being holy, Jesus our Savior, the Lamb of God, was baptized to show the way for me. Now is the Lamb of God, he being holy, to have the means to be baptized with water. Then how much more need have we, sinners, to obey the will of our eternal Father? Know ye not that he was holy, but notwithstanding being holy, Jesus our Savior, the Lamb of God, was baptized to show the way for me.
Very good.
The 3 that soloed, if you think they were good, you should have heard the other 3. They forgot the words. That's why they got cut out. Okay, who's next? Priscilla, you ready, dear? Okay? How do you want to hear it?
We have a talent show. She says, who am I? Who am I? And so I never liked it. I like it, but I never wanted to sing it. But tonight I'll sing it. From the morning of my life, a kind of quiet faith has grown. Just a feeling deep inside that tells me I am not alone. When the way seems long and weary, still His questions come so clearly. Saying, try and I am with you. Saying, climb and I will lift you. But the question always lingers in my mind. Who am I that God should hear and answer when I pray? Who am I that He should love and guide me through each day? Who am I to call Him when the storms of life be wild? Who am I? Though my past be dark and lonely, He is with me every hour. Through the fragile velvet parts inside, I have felt His loving power. And bright hope I am weeping, past. With me trying, for He is with me. Help me climb, for He will lift me. Because the question always lingers in my mind. Who am I that God should hear and answer when I pray? Who am I that He should love and guide me through each day? Who am I to call Him when the storms of life be wild? Who am I? Who am I? But His child. I will try, for He is with me. I will climb, for He will lift me. And there is no need to question anymore. I am His child.
No. Everybody's forced to be
Oh my gosh.
Don't give a story about it.
Okay. What's your brother-in-law, Kenneth?
Into the mouthpiece.
And Kenneth Brown, and he's married to my sister Donna. And gosh, maybe I think I'm going to back up. I'm going to start from the oldest down. That's easier. Okay, my brother Dee Packard, my brother Jay, resting on the pillow, from Los Angeles. Dee's from Bountiful, Utah. I mean, not Los Angeles, Palo Alto. And let's see, then Vaughn, the mission president of the Los Angeles, temple president of the Los Angeles Temple, and his beautiful wife Sheila, right directly behind him. And then my beautiful sister Donna Brown, married to Kenneth, and they live in Orem, Utah.
Going on a mission?
And they're going on a mission to the Switzerland temple mission. Isn't that wonderful? Next month. And then my brother Floyd Packard, and he is the president of the San Diego Temple, and his beautiful wife Alice directly behind him. And then Ronald, he is congressman representing the southern part of California, and his home is in Washington, D.C., and his beautiful wife, Jean. And then Bill, Ace William Packard, he's from Jordan. Is that correct, Jordan?
West Jordan.
West Jordan. near Salt Lake City, and we just came with him on the airplane today. And my brother Bob and his beautiful wife Talmadge, and they're the ones that went to the temple with Bernie and Sarah last Saturday, and they went out shopping and bought all of Sarah's burial clothes together.
And they're the ones that went to Israel with Bernie and Sarah.
Yeah, that's what a privilege that must have been. Did I cover all of them?
And
Yourself?
Two most important ones you forgot.
I grew up with Bernie. We're 22 months apart. He was my best friend.
Yeah, I kissed her once on New Year's Eve at a dance.
He's the one that taught me how to kiss. I'm so proud.
And I kissed her, we looked at each other and said, something's wrong.
No, seriously, but I'm serious, I had never been kissed, and he taught me, and I thought, this is gross.
New Year's Eve dance, and he actually kissed on the lips, and then we looked at each other and said, this doesn't feel right.
I used to always tell Bernie, I said, oh, Bernie, I just got to marry somebody that I feel the same way about as I do you, or I'll never be happy. And I found him.
I did equally good too.
Oh, gosh. And I don't think you met, but this is my beautiful daughter and son-in-law back here in the back. And we would not even be in this group if it weren't for Bernie and Sarah, because Sarah was so persistent in introducing our beautiful daughter to our wonderful son-in-law, Donald Hilton. And
She was a matchmaker.
literally, I'm serious, she was really getting to be quite buggy. Sarah called every day, not missing a day for a period of time, on trying to be an influence for good in our lives and influencing Janet. And it worked. It really worked. But then, I can't stop there. Down the road a ways, Rick had the privilege of rooming with probably his favorite cousin, David, wherever he is. And he loved your son.
We got a few Davids. There's a scripture saying there's supposed to be a David prophet in the last days, so everyone of his brothers named one David.
But you know, I'm the youngest in the family that was living, and our Richard, when he was born, there was not a lot of cousins left the exact same age as our Rick, but David was. And he just really drew to David, and they became roommates at BYU. And how many of you remember Rhonda Rogers? Well, she is our daughter-in-law, and I tell you, we just love her so much, as well as we do Dawn, and we're just so grateful that they're both from this very ward and state. And we're just really blessed through Bernie and Sarah. If it weren't for Bernie and Sarah, our family wouldn't be the same, and wouldn't be the way they are, and have the wonderful people that we have in it.
Isn't Barbara a sweetheart?
Down the Via Dolorosa in Jerusalem that day, the soldiers tried to clear the narrow street.
He was bleeding from a beating. There were stripes upon his back, and he wore a crown of thorns upon his head. Yet he bore with every step the scorn of those who cry out for his death. Down the Via Dolorosa, called the way of suffering, like a lamb came the Messiah, Christ the King. But he chose to walk that road out of his love for you and me. Down the Via Dolorosa, all the way to Calvary. Por la Via Dolorosa, desde a Jerusalén, los soldados le dan paso a Jesús, mas la gente se acercaba para ver a que llevaba aquella cruz. Por la Via Dolorosa, que es la vía del dolor, como bella vino Cristo, Rey Señor. Y fue Él quien quiso ir por su amor, por ti y por mí. Por la Via Dolorosa, al Calvario y a morir. The blood that would cleanse the souls of all men made its way to the heart of Jerusalem. Down the Via Dolorosa, called the way of suffering, like a lamb came the Messiah, Christ the King. But he chose to walk that road out of his love for you and me. Down the Via Dolorosa, all the way to Calvary. Por la Via Dolorosa, al Calvario y a morir.
There you got them wrong. Vaughn, was she accurate in her words?
Very
We've got three boys that speak Spanish fluently, and I could ask them, but I figured you wouldn't catch it quite so clearly.
Bernie, it was last Thanksgiving Day that we were on the De La Rosa, the four of us, and we went that same thing with Sarah in the wheelchair, and Bernie did most of it in getting her up all those steps of the De La Rosa. It's not very easy to get up the De La Rosa.
We went to the Sea of Galilee, and she said, "Let's try for the miracle." I pushed her down, tried to step on that water. We went right in the water and almost drowned.
Wheelchair and all.
This is no other name. It's the one they know about. It's the one that's on the Kennesaw Cave. I've done it one time in the last 6 years. Since time began, since Adam came,
Who else but He, fathered by God, ruling the seas, moving the world, came with such love, then gave it all. Countless voices have so praised His name, no other name has been so good, no other man has brought more good, no other name on earth that saves than the name of Jesus, Lord Jesus, Jesus Christ, no other Though man may search, he'll never find a hope more sure, a treasure more bright than knowing Him who knew no sin. He can bring us back to God again. No other name has been so good. No other man has brought more good. No other name on earth that saves than the name of Jesus, Lord Jesus, Jesus Christ, no other name, no other name. No other
We put together a video of the construction of the San Diego Temple. There were 3 songs on it. That was one of them. During that, it showed the temple coming from almost nothing, and it just grew up as that song was being sung, and it's very fun.
Oh my goodness. That song by her.
Yeah, we'll get you a copy.
Every Sunday, that's the song we raise up and get ready for church songs. The whole thing.
Well, that brings our program to a conclusion. We're about to have prayer. Is there anything that needs to be brought to our attention before we have prayer? Our 5th son does get his chance to pray. I've already asked Marshall Hayes to say the closing.
Getting my camera going this morning. I finally got it to so it'll focus. I was going to go out in the living room there and show you a picture of everybody sleeping, but I better not talk out there. This is a picture of Rochelle, the one that was lost in the fire when this house burned down. When she was 9. Well, we're out in the back of the house here early this morning, and this is the back of the home. I think they've already taken the lift and stuff out of the van that was used for the wheelchair. He covers this lens quick. This is the house they built after the fire burned it down. They built it on the same property in the same spot. There's their pool and little barn out there. They have 35 acres here of property. They rent out to some they have cows out there. They used to have a barn right here that they tore down not long after the fire. I guess it was quite a while after the fire. Went out here to this morning, but there's the road that comes down to their house. Porte is the name of it. There's where the nurse lives across the street that helped them so much, informing them of the disease. And here's the front of the house. A lot of cars in the way right now. This is the family meeting in the Relief Society room. It's the bishop.
Followed by the second speaker, Barbara Packard Kunstler. And then there will be the special musical number, the women's chorus, family women's chorus, Love One Another, and then again a soloist, Rachel Myers.
They're reviewing the program.
Speaker will follow that, it will be Marshall Page. And then again a special musical number by the Packard family. And then the musical number, How Great Thou Art, and the first two verses, How Great Thou Art, followed by the concluding speaker, who will be President Packard. And then the last musical number, God Be With You, which the first two verses will be sung by the family, and the third verse will be joined in, the congregation will join in. After which the benediction will be given by David Packard. And then finally, we will then depart to the cemetery, Wilmington Cemetery, and Dan Packard will give the dedicatory prayer. Are there any questions?
Out that door, but take your time, and then we'll move on. Slave. Like you said, I don't know if I need a towel or do this. I don't
These are all the relatives. Oh boy, I'm having a hard time. Oh. That's hard. Mom and Dad. It's hard. You're going to need to put the veil over. Who does that burning?
Well, it's time to go. They want to start. They want to start at 10 o'clock at school.
Oh, Sarah. I love you. Look, we have filled the stage. Even, it's like conference. The entire, they're filling up the choir seats. There's Bernie coming in now. And Wade and his wife. Some of the girls are sitting on the stand. Pallbearers are over there, the sons. They're moving the flowers to make room for Sarah. They're going to have to move some flowers to let the children be seen. The building is absolutely packed.
The Patrick family joins me in wishing to express appreciation for your attendance here today. We would like to recognize on the stand with us President Tony Ross, who is the presiding authority on the Orange, Texas state. As friends and as family, we are gathered here today to show our love and pay our final respects to Sister Sarah Packard. Sarah was a remarkable influence on all of those lives that she touched. She was an example of inspiration, and her loving presence will be missed. As I have reflected the last couple of days about Sarah and her example, I thought came to my mind, and there's a scripture in 1 Corinthians, in fact it's chapter 13, and it has to deal with charity. I think there are a few people that I've encountered in my life who portray the traits that are expressed in this scripture more fully than Sarah. I can reflect about it. The program today will begin with the invocation by Stan Packard. After that, a musical number will be rendered by the family. The program will proceed.
Humbly we bow our heads and gather together this morning. We thank you for the privilege that we have had throughout our lives to have known and lived to feel the spirit of our dear and precious friend and mother and loved one, Sarah Packard. We ask thy spirit to be with us here as we mourn her loss. We thank you for what we still hold in our hearts, in our minds, and what she left with us. We thank you for the privilege that we've had to have known her, to rub shoulders with her on a daily basis, to have felt her touch, and to have been taught by her. And we ask you, please, help us. Bless us with thy spirit this day, a spirit of comfort and a spirit of reassurance. Help us to remember her example always, and bless us with strong conviction to live our lives as she did, with vigor, with enthusiasm, in furthering thy kingdom. Please bless us with happiness somehow, and help us to reflect frequently on all the happy moments that each of us have experienced with her, for there's so many. And bless us again with thy spirit through our time of grief. And bless her husband, father, friend, and comfort. And I hope that one day we can see her in resurrection.
I live on Forkey Road because of the neighbors that I have. I bought the neighborhood and not happy. I would like to introduce our relationship, and a lot of our relationships with Fairfield Church. I stole this next line from a good bishop, but it's the truth as I see it. Just have pondered the events of the past several days and tried to sort them out in my own mind. Following statement made to the prophet Joseph by the Lord came thundering to my mind, and it is, all flesh is mine and it's in my hand. He still knows that I am God. For a moment, he almost our Father in heaven, no, His Son, Jesus Christ. All the circumstances attendant to this life that man is never ready for, the call home of a loved one is the one heard most clear. We would delay it, avoid it, or find reasons why it should not be. We would even counsel the Lord in this, and if we felt it would do any good or any difference, we'd say, please not now. But in His wisdom and at His timetable, collectively He calls upon us to meet the needs of His kingdom and our own love and development. And so our Father, as we gather here this day with our hearts heavy, we turn to Thee in Thine infinite capacity to heal as we lay at Thy feet our loss, accepting Thy decision, and seek peace. The Lord said that He judges man by the intent of our heart. But He also said, ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorn or figs of thistles? Even so every good tree bringeth forth his fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Wherefore by their fruit ye shall know them. Let us for a moment discuss the fruits of Sarah Patrick. In 20 years, as I have watched the fruit that she has planted and reaped and enjoyed, in 20 years I've met every one of her children, worked with, fought with, and counseled with every one of them. Got them places where they needed to go. Sat and listened to them cry and laugh and enjoy each other's company. I said the day that I was called to this assignment that I had two heroes in life. Well, I dropped one of them. One of them was, if I looked like somebody, I would be excited. But if I could be like Bernie Patrick, it would be one of the greatest things that I could have seen. And then I realized one of the greatest things about Bernie Patrick was who he was eternally sealed to. That eternal companion. Because I've seen Sarah in every situation that you can think of. The first time I ever met her, I went to her home for a temple recommend. She came to the door and she said, as she looked at me, she said, I told her what I was there for, and she said, give me a minute. She slammed the door. She ran inside, and I looked through the window, and 7 or 8 kids were running all over the place, grabbing things and putting it away and hiding it under the couch. And so I just stood there for about 5 minutes, and I thought, okay. And then she came back and she said, come on in. President Patrick will be with you in just a minute. And I'm telling you, as I have watched over the years, I've discovered that there is a Packard standard of everything. If you want to talk about talent, the Packard set the talent standard in this ward, in this state, in this community. As a public school teacher, every teacher I ever met wanted a Packard in their room. A good friend of mine, one friend of mine called and she said, I want you to know that my daughter has a Packard for a friend. And that meant a lot. It said a lot. It set a standard. When you go to higher escapades, when they performed, they won. If you want to talk about a beautiful girl, when they competed, they won. At one day, we were having Honor Society induction at school. And the principal came up to Sarah and she said, well, your husband's not here. It's one of the girls who was being inducted in Honor Society. She said, yeah, he was busy. And she said, what did he think about this 5th or 6th child being inducted in Honor Society? Oh, he thought that probably the first 2 or 3 is kind of exciting.
Now how often is it? So, you know, but she was there. She was there. It may have lost the zip to him, but it didn't lose to her. She never lost her zip or anything. As her neighbor, we watched the road. She watched the road because we had little children and they would go down in front of our house. The road was hot, back and forth all the time. And it was terrible. She was never home. You couldn't find her home. She was either visiting her children in Utah or San Antonio, or she was at the office was burning, or she was called going. She was planning a trip, a big, huge trip to Canada, or to New York, or to Utah. Just anywhere that she hadn't been, she wanted to go, she went. President Patrick philosophy was, I just make the money. Say, let's spend it. I called a friend of mine last night, and he said, how are the Packers doing? I said, they're over there last night. We were talking about the Packers. He said, that says everything. They're acting like Packers. That says everything. Because when it really comes down to it, Packers have a thing. The celestial kingdom is made up. From the richness of their souls, they know that God lives. They know that Jesus Christ is His Son and Redeemer, our Redeemer. They know that bottom line above all else. They know this too, that families are forever. That whether you're on this side of the veil or the other, that families are forever. A dear friend of all of ours has said this and made it clear that the veil is as thick or thin as we want it to be. I heard one say yesterday that after their mom passed away, that they could bet money, if they had any, that she was close at hand saying when they started singing to her, look, I told you they could sing. Look down there. And just wait for the funeral. It'll be prettier then. Because she made sure they could sing. She gave them opportunities to sing. She gave them opportunities to perform. She gave them opportunities to be successful. She gave them opportunities to be happy. She spent hours and hours and hours being a wife and a mother. For she realized in the grand scheme of things that nothing else mattered, that her greatest calling in this life or the next was to be a wife and a mother, to raise up a righteous posterity. And she learned that from Susan Chan. In fact, her mother said one time, you really can't tell how good parents you are until you see your grandchildren. All I can tell you this way, Deacon, you did a bang up job. Because this whole world, as you look around and see, sing her praises, and in turn sing you. I've been impressed with the impact that the Lord has on each one of our lives. I'm reminded of a story in the New Testament where Jesus' good friends, Mary and Martha and Lazarus, probably the best friends that he had. He mentioned him as his friend. But Lazarus took sick and was dying. And they sent a messenger to him, said, come quickly, please come. And hurry, because Lazarus is dying. But he did not. He tarried. And he went. By the time he got there, Lazarus was dying. Mary went to him and just in the throes of sorrow. I don't know that she cast the aspersions or just heartbroken said, if you had come, Lord, he would not have died. And she was correct. He would not have happened. But the Savior knew what he was about to do. He knew in just a moment that Lazarus was dead. And yet, he did not reveal that to her. He felt the person's passion. He felt the first sorrow. And the other Jews that were there with him were also in tears. And then what did the Savior do because of his great love for these people? He wept. We weep with you because our love of you. All that the country can come up to now. Daniel said in the Book of Mormon, he said, And he shall come into the world to redeem his people. And he shall take upon him the transgressions of those who believe on his name. And these are they that shall have eternal life. If anyone would ever doubt that Jesus Christ was part of their parents' lives, you knew her not. She was the grandest example of a missionary that faith was ever produced. She declared the gospel of Jesus Christ with everyone she spoke, either in deed or word. Her home was always open to someone who wanted to talk, to someone who wanted to listen, and someone who wanted the gospel in their lives. Hundreds of lives have been touched. Hundreds of souls have been saved because she was willing to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. I have watched as her home was used for programs at Christmas where hundreds would come in and be taught the Christmas story. I have watched when we'd all pile out of the house and go into the barn and sit on the nativity scene. I have watched when she has allowed her children to be involved in all kinds of good, quality programs so that they could be, that their spirit could be felt by the community. The Lord loves her. He loves her family. And because of her love for him, and because of her obedience to the gospel and to keeping the commandments, and because of the goodness of her heart and that of her husband, this entire area has reaped the blessing. I cannot say for anyone but me, except as I look over this crowd, that my heart broke, that one of the best friends that I have ever had is not there for me to talk to.